And because you're into it, you're happening. You're happening. I told Brother Mann before we got here, we were emailing back and forth, I said, man, they can sense fear. Junior high kids can sense fear, but you guys just sense God. You sense coolness. You sense ready to happen, ready to go to the next level. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Let's give all them a hand real quick. Adults in the house. Giving you guys a hand. All the adults over here giving you guys a hand. Yes, sir. Yes, ma'am. People eating goldfish. Brothers saying poo from the pulpit. I love a brother that'll say poo from the pulpit. Sorry. I'm just a youth pastor and I don't have good sense. Anyways, happy to be here today. I want to give honor to Brother Michael Enzi. Respect him. Tremendous, tremendous, tremendous leader. Thank you, sir. Thank you. Awesome. That's right. That's right. Hey, and just real quick, I know we got to roll, but how about the musicians and singers? How about that? And let me just stop and say this real quick, because these guys don't get very much love, but the people on the cameras, the light, the sound folks, the stage people over here, right here. Awesome, awesome, awesome. All right. All right, everybody feeling good today? All right. How about the Lord moving in on us last night and just doing some amazing things around here? How about giving some praise to Him? Amen. He's worthy. Amen. I want to talk to you this morning, and I told you yesterday, I'm not going to scream, jump around, run around a little bit. That's not what I'm going to do this morning. What I'm going to do this morning is hopefully just talking to your life. I'm going to just put up my screen, my title screen, if you will. Throw that up there for me, Brother Jason there. I'm going to tell you what I'm talking about right off the bat. A little talk we're going to do called What Are You Looking At? You ever told anybody that? What are you looking at? And then the little older version of that is, what in the world are you doing? What in the world are you looking at? So just to give a little illustration for us to start this off, I want to ask you this question real quick. What in this world, in this culture, are you looking at? What are you looking at? Now, right now you're looking at me, right? Okay, thank you. Brilliant people in the house. No special ed people, just all the brilliant people in the house today. Now here's the deal, I want to try to speak into your lives today, okay? I hope to make sense. I pray every time, God, anoint me, bless me, help me, but most of all, God, well, not most of all, but also help me just to make some sense. I want to try to deal with, and I say try because I'm not going to presume that I can. I want to try to deal with the realities of where we're living at. And I'm going to talk today about self-image, about self-esteem, about insecurities, because I think that insecurity is probably one of two of the greatest ways the devil uses to kill us from becoming what God wants us to be with our life, what God wants us. I think it's one of the biggest things. I got another whole topic that I'll talk to you about maybe another time, but today I want to talk about insecurity. And this talk, just so you know, was not born out of me, just getting on my knees and praying, and not that I didn't pray, not that I didn't read the Word, because I totally did. But this talk was born, it emerged from conversations that I had with kids your age, students your age, sat around in small pockets of groups of 12 to 14-year-old students, and I said, just tell me about your life. Tell me what you're dealing with. You're Pentecostal, you're Apostolic, you've been raised in this thing. What are you dealing with? Because I don't know. And I want to know because I'm your youth pastor and I want to help you out. So this is what I did, and I met with these kids, and one of the biggest places and one of the biggest topics that kept coming back up over and over again was, man, Danny, we're just having a hard time, being us out in the real world. Being who we are out in the real world. It's a lot of pressure, a lot of stress, and it's a lot of junk coming at us, and, we could use some help just figuring out how to deal with that. So just so you know, that's where this thing came from. Now, to start this off, I'm going to tell you one of the biggest places that insecurity and self-esteem issues comes from rejection. And I'm not going to talk about rejection, but just to get us warmed up, just to get us started off this morning, I got a little clip I want to show you. I'm going to bring out my friend Bigfoot and his two hillbilly buddies to show us real quickly the top 5 ways not, everybody say not. Top 5 ways not to handle rejection. Check it out on the screen real quick. My friend Bigfoot. Crank that up out there if you don't mind. All right, here we go. Number 5, break into a violent rage.
You see that, Jimmy? That's him, isn't it? Oh, man, you better believe it, man. Oh, man. What is that smell? It's a Bigfoot, man. Hey, Bigfoot! I got bad news for you, buddy! You stink!
Number 4, run away from home, not to handle rejection.
Hey, Bigfoot! Hate to break it to you, man, but P.U.
Poor Bigfoot. Number 3, gluttony.
Bigfoot! More like Big B.O.
Number 2, cower in the corner.
Hey, Sasquatch! Stinkfield called! You're the new mayor!
Number 1 way, give in to the ways of the world.
Hey, Stinkfoot! You reek! Bigfoot, not that. No.
All right. Okay, yeah. Give it up for Bigfoot real quick, helping us out there. When I was about 6, 7, 8 years old, in that range there, I grew up in this place called Nairobi, Kenya. It's in East Africa. And if you're a boy growing up in Kenya, it's one of the coolest things because, well, when you go out to play, there's a good chance that something will eat you while you're out there. You know what I'm saying? The plants want to eat you. Everything's out there trying to rip your flesh off or eat you. And there's snakes and there's lions and stuff is trying to eat you, which was, for some bizarre reason, sort of a cool thing for me. Now, one of the coolest parts about growing up in Kenya was the amazing animal life. And since I wasn't the crocodile hunter or Jeff Corwin, or anything like that, I left the snakes and the boa constrictors to them. But I like to grab stuff, animals. I still do. I can't help myself. Matter of fact, when I was a kid, I would shoot a bird just so I could see it up close. Isn't that terrible? Don't tell PETA or whatever that is on me. Matter of fact, I still like to grab things. I was fishing just the other day, caught a stingray, pulled it in. My friends were all freaking out. And they're like, dude, how are we going to get it off? And I was like, I don't know. But I just picked it up, and I was looking around at it. And they're like, get it off of me. And I was throwing it at them. I caught an alligator one time when I was fishing, and I was just looking at it. It was a small one, just kind of looking at it. And I didn't know what to do with it, so I threw it on my friends. And they were pretty happy about that. But anyways, back to my story. 8 years old, can't handle snakes and stuff. I don't want to grab them. But there was this thing called the chameleon. You might have ever heard of this thing, right? How many of you have ever seen one of these? Pretty much if you live in Texas, you've seen one of these things. They got the puffy necks that get red and they can blend in. You've seen these things? But the thing I'm talking about is not those. I'm talking about the East African chameleon. See that thing right there? He's got 3 horns. He's got a tongue that's right now in this picture grabbing a cricket. Can you see that? Yeah, that's not a branch. That's his tongue. Yeah. Anyways, these things were bad. And occasionally, somebody would cut a tree down, a big tall tree, these eucalyptus trees that we had in our yard. They cut them down, and in the tops of these trees, which were now laying on the ground, we would grab these little creatures, these chameleons. And we'd mess with them, play with them, then let them go and not kill them. Yes. And anyways, one day I decide I'm going to see how bad to the bone this thing can turn, right? We had this Folgers coffee can that we played this game called Kick the Can. You probably don't play that anymore, but in Africa in the 70s, we didn't have PlayStation, right? We had Kick the Can. So, anyways, I stick him on there. And how many of you have seen this Folgers cup? These things, they're red, and they've got a kind of, back in the day, they had like a plaid look on them. So I was about to try to get this chameleon to turn plaid. So I stuck him on there. We were looking at him, man. and he started to try to change colors and blend into his environment, right? And he just was having a hard time, so we kind of left and played some games, came back, and he was still there because they move really slow. They don't like to move much. And when we came back, he was laying over on his side, and he was dead. He was kind of a pale blue color. The thing about this guy is I put him into a situation he just couldn't blend into, and he died trying to fit in because there were some scenes that he just wasn't designed by God to blend into. Now, as teenagers, most of you early teenagers, you're hitting the stage of life where you are tempted to become a chameleon, right? Let's face it. Let me just be real with you for just a second here. You're in the midst of a lot of changes in your life, whether you realize it or not. You're changing physically. Most of you realize that, right? You're changing emotionally. There are pressures coming at you from all sides. There are pressures coming at you from the media, from broken or blended families that you're living in. Your friends are bringing out some pressure in your life, and there's a whole bunch more. There's just pressure out there in our world on people your age especially. And so with all of the pressure and all the junk that we're dealing with, there's just this desire in us, just this little desire in us just to sort of give in a little bit, just to blend in with some group, to create an image for ourselves that will get us into the right situations. Just to have a sense of stability, just to have a sense of normalcy. And I want to stop and say this. I get that. I understand that pressure that you feel, and I understand your desire just maybe to give in a little bit, to blend in just a little bit, to ease some of it off. I get that. But I want you to pay attention to what I'm about to tell you right now. I don't want you to ever forget what I'm about to tell you. Listen to me. No matter how much you want to, no matter how safe, secure, or comfortable it feels to blend in, there are some scenes and situations that you were never created to fit into. And the result of trying to fit in anyway can be harmful or fatal to your relationship with Christ. So with that in mind, I want to jump into this talk. Now, when I was a kid, insecurity was a big deal for me. As a matter of fact, it was such a big deal for me that I never, ever one time came to youth camp. I was entirely too afraid to go to youth camp. I came from a church in San Antonio. We had 3 young people. One of them was my best friend, of course, because it was my only friend. And the other one was my sister. Pretty tough dating life growing up, right? Because that's only acceptable in, like, Alabama, you know, your sister, but, you know, whatever. See, if we were in Alabama, they'd say that about us, so I have to throw that out there, right? Anyways, so, you know, I came from this little bitty church, no friends to go with, just the 3 of us. I didn't have any cool clothes, right? Back in the day, my mom still dressed me. As a matter of fact, in the 5th grade, which is when I was, I guess, 10 or 11 years old, she bought me a new shirt, and I didn't know any better. It was white, and it had red 3/4-inch sleeves. Pretty hip right now, right, that style? And on the front, it had this little symbol like this, and then on the bottom, it said, ooh la la. Okay. My sister said, Dan, I don't think you want to wear that shirt, but she never told me why. It looks pretty cool. I'll wear it. I'll bust out into today. Go to school, 5th grade, right? Show up, and everybody's like, dude, you're wearing a girl's shirt, man. Twinkie, loser, all day long, right? Girl's shirt on. And that wasn't the worst of it, because this just so happened to be picture day. So now, forever in the annals of 5th grade elementary, Adams Hill Elementary, there's loser boy Danny with a ooh la la girl shirt on. It's forever ensconced in there. So I had some issues, some reasons to be insecure, right? I didn't have any sweet skills. Just ping pong. That was my only thing I knew how to do. And, you know, ping pong's a cool game, right? Some of you, I saw you playing it last night. But it's not really marketable, fellas, when you're trying to pick up girls. Like, I got some sweet ping pong skills. They're like, so? You got any money? Can you buy me a Frosty or whatever you guys eat? Right? There's no sweet skills. And I was never sure if I was cool or not. So instead, I felt like an insecure, self-conscious loser, and I never went to camp. And I cheated myself of all the coolness that you guys are a part of right now, all the blessings, all the moves of God that are involved in a camp, because I was unwilling to risk because of my own insecurity. So here's my big point today, my big idea. Insecurity self-esteem issues with who I am, cheats me from becoming what God wants for me and what he wants to do with my life. And it also cheats me from who I want to become in my own life. Remember that, okay? Now, maybe you're thinking right now, you know what, dude, this is a girl talk or whatever. I can go ahead and check out of this talk. I don't have any insecurity issues. I don't have any self-esteem issues, but I want you to just hang on. Hang on. And I want to ask you for just a second to be real with yourself and to consider if any of these questions I'm about to read to you have ever crossed your own mind. Now, I want you to just quickly close your eyes. Close your eyes. Just think. Don't get goofy. Just think. Will I ever feel good about myself? Will I ever feel genuinely loved? Loved for who I am and not for who or what I could become? Will I ever have a real friend that I trust completely? Somebody that I can share anything I'm feeling or going through with and know they'll never break my trust? Will I ever just get to be myself in front of others without worrying what they think? Will I ever get to be my real me? Will I ever be able to lose this weight? Will I ever grow into this nose? Will I always be this short or this skinny or this tall? Is this my skin forever? Will I ever feel totally accepted? Open your eyes. Most of you had them open anyways. As though I'm blind. No, just kidding. Now, if any of these questions have ever, or any variation of them have ever crossed your mind, I want you to pay attention for just a few moments. See, I know this is a real issue for American teenagers today because last year, there were 250,000 cosmetic surgeries performed on kids 18 or under. 250,000 cosmetic surgeries, cosmetic enhancements to help people look better on people your age and younger even. Now, more teenage guys are using steroids and performance enhancers than ever before. It's big news. There's a lot of pressure out there to look a certain way. There's a lot of pressure out there to hang around with certain people. There's a lot of pressure out there to perform at a high level, either in school or in sports or in music or in something. And as a result, for a lot of us, our self-esteem is under attack. Now, let's take a look at self-image for a while. I'm just going to talk. I'm just going to be myself. So I hope you're okay with that. And self-image is kind of like a bank account, right? A bank account is something you put money into or you take money out of. Everybody kind of follow the concept? And people and their words and circumstances and situations are always depositing into our self-image or withdrawing from it. And as a result, we don't maybe have never thought about it in those terms, but as a result, we are constantly doing things, saying things, or changing things about ourselves to get people to make deposits in the form of approval, in the form of acceptance, and in the form of compliments. We all do it, not just the young people, every person on the stage, myself, we all do that. Everybody does that. We don't realize that we're doing that, but everybody does it. And we are desperate to have other people put their seal of approval on us, all of us. And what we're saying, what we're really saying by our actions, by our efforts to make people like us is, please like me so that I can like myself. Please like me so that I can like myself, because I'm not going to be okay with me until you're okay with me. I hope I'm making some sense so far this morning. The bottom line for all of us is that we want to feel better about ourselves. We want to fit in somewhere, and there's nothing wrong, and there's nothing abnormal about that. That's a human desire. But the problem is that we almost always look to fix something on the outside of ourselves to make us feel better about ourselves on the inside. And so we buy new clothes, and we get a new ride, and we get a new do, and we get new glasses or contacts, and we maybe get plastic surgery if you're rich or whatnot. We maybe work out like freaks, right? Or we go on some crazy diet, all trying to make ourselves feel and look better. So here's the question that I have to ask. Why do we work so hard on the outside to feel better about ourselves on the inside? Why do we do that? And here's the answer, is because this is what we see all around us, from even our own adults that are in our lives, from our culture through the media, from, listen, from a system of this world I don't want to get too deep here, but from a system of this world that's at work against you. There is, I hope to just in the next few minutes just sort of uncover one of the chief attacks of the enemy against you. There is a system of this world that is designed to cause you to feel bad about yourself. Somebody's going to hear me this morning. Somebody's going to be helped. Let's take a look at how the system works. Some just pictures from everyday life, things that you see in going through the grocery line. Let me show you 4 pictures. All right, back up. Can we back that up? There we go. 17 magazine, Alexis Bledel, Gilmore Girl, whatever. Look at these things. You know, girls, guys. Okay, you can go ahead. She's pretty. I understand. Pretty hair tips. Look right here. 64 flirty hairstyles. The right cut for you. Sexy hair how-tos. Intensify your love. Remember, this is for teenagers, right? Get great legs in only 10 days. Have they seen some of our legs? Hookup report. Clothes that make you look thinner. Right, all right, next one, please. This is the cover. Cosmo Girl, Katie Holmes on parents partying and the new men in her life. Here's what's inside. Beauty tricks from Victoria's Secret models. Easy do-it-yourself clothes you can wear tonight. Wow, 6 moves to a fierce bikini body. 6 moves, that's it? Wow. Tons of cute swimsuits you'll feel amazing in. Again, have they seen us to know this stuff? Right, okay, that's girl. Here's some magazine called Details. I figured that'd make you happy. Cheeseball weighs the score. Points with the girls. Show Tom Cruise. All right, next, you got the GQ, Brad Pitt. Moves on. All right, roll it out. Now you're going, well, dude, I'm Pentecostal. I don't ever look at them kind of magazines. Here's the truth, all right? Here's the truth. Listen to me. I don't care if you live in a town of 6. I don't care if you've never seen a TV in your life. You are exposed to the culture whether you want to be or not. It's all around you. It's everywhere you look. You can't drive down the road. You're going to see pressure and selling points everywhere you go. No one, not the most conservative apostolic person on the planet is outside the lines of this pressure. Trust me. Anybody who says otherwise got their head stuck in the sand. It's there. It's real. Now, here's the thing I want you to know. All of these pictures, I asked even my young fellas, guys, in my discussions, where do you get your idea of what's cool, hip, happening and stuff? Well, we see magazines, Brother Danny. We look at, this. Or we see ESPN or blah, blah, blah. Wherever. Everything they said was we get our idea for what's cool, what's happening, what we should do from the media, from the culture. Every one of them. Good kids, spiritual kids. You can throw darts or whatever, but they're good, spiritual, God-hungry kids who are saying we're getting our influence from the culture. Now check this out. We see all of these pictures, and you may not say, well, you know what? I'm going to look like Brad Pitt, dirty and unkempt, which he was in that picture. You may not say that, but literally the influence that's out there is causing you're thinking, man, look at that girl, ladies. Look at that guy, fellas. I got to look like that. But here's what I want you to know. Here's what you may not know. These people, and I could have shown you 1,000 like that, have personal trainers, personal makeup artists, personal stylists, personal hairdressers. It takes 15 to 20 to 30 people to take one of those pictures that you see in the magazines. Then after they've shot 3,000 pictures with all of this help, with all this personal help, they got all this, then they take the best one of these pictures, they send it over to a computer person who airbrushes out every little detail, every little imperfection, then they put it on a nice glossy picture, and then you're going, wow, I got to look like that. And that is not even real because nobody looks that good. And I know you're clapping and I know you're cheering and I appreciate that, but I'm telling you, whether you like it or not, maybe not everybody in the room, but there's a lot of people going, you know what, that's right, man. I do that. Let me show you quickly, and this is kind of funny, but I got a point. Let me show you real quickly the real deal, okay? The real behind the scenes. All right, here's Christina Aguilera, right? Got the nice gloss and, the big fake eyelashes, right? Okay, but hang on. Real deal. Oh, yeah. No makeup. No hairdo, no fan blowing, no airbrushing. Real quick. Next picture, please. Here's Alicia Silverstone, got the fake blonde thing going on, the quality makeup job, I guess. Next picture, please. Oh, with a sandwich in her mouth. Right? Real life. This is real life. This is what, look at next picture. This is what you're trying to work against, right? Cameron Diaz, right? But here's the real Cameron Diaz. Oh, help me. Help me. Next picture, please. Here's Britney Spears, hair blowing, whatever. Yeah, whatever. But here's what she really looks like in the mornings, right? And I'm not just trying to crack on these people. I'm just trying to expose the real deal. Now, Pamela Anderson, got the blonde, everything. Yeah, but wait. Check this out. Oh, help me. See, the thing is, you're not trying to look. Wait, okay, back up. Hang on. You're not trying to look like that. That's not your pressure, because that's what she really looks like. You're trying to look like the picture before. Next picture right here. You got Michael Jackson. He's got all, but really without the makeup, yeah. I'm sorry. I shouldn't have done that. That was cheap. I'm sorry, Michael Jackson. Child molester, convicted, allegedly. Casey's going to sue me now. Allegedly. Yes, he needs the Holy Ghost. And so does the ape, right? Bigfoot's sister. All right, hang with me now. Like I said, I have a real point. Somehow. Now, here's the thing. Are you with me, Beck? Are you back with me now? Because I want you to hear what I'm telling you. The stuff that the system is selling you is a bunch of made-up stuff created by Madison Avenue, which is the marketing firms, and Hollywood to sell stuff. Listen to me. Everything is about money and them getting some of yours. And so here's the thing. They have to create a need in your life, an empty place in your life, so that you'll buy their stuff, that somehow if you buy their gear, whatever they're advertising, that you'll be hot, or that you'll have all the chicks all over you. That's what they're telling you. Or that you'll be able to hit a ball farther, you'll be able to shoot better, or that you'll be styling and profiling better. That's what they're trying to sell. Now, I don't believe that, Danny. I don't believe that. Well, here, check this out. I got a quote on the screen. There was an advertising executive not too long ago who was on an interview. She said, Madison Avenue, we find a point of weakness and lust in every man, woman, and child, and target that weakness to make them want to buy our product. I didn't make that up. That was her very own words. We find a point of weakness or lust, someplace that people feel bad about themselves. We show them what they should look like so that they'll go, ugh, I feel horrible, and I want to buy their gear now. I'm telling you the truth. Now, here's the thing. Well, I don't believe that. It ain't really happening with me. Pentecostal students all over the country are buying into the system. Are you wrong? Are you the devil? No. I'm just saying it's out there, and it's sneaky, and it's creeping in if we're not careful. Now, check this out. This is a real deal. Their tactics, we talked about it this morning, work. In America, last year, 12 to 19-year-olds, everybody say that's me. Oh, that was weak. Come on, that's me. Spent $50 billion, with a B, $billion on food, clothing, and entertainment. Your age group, spent that much money, $50 billion. You convinced your parents to spend an additional $100 billion on food, clothing, and entertainment. All total, your age group is a $150 billion a year industry. That's bigger than a lot of countries' gross domestic product. Sorry for the big word. So, not everybody's with me, but some of you are catching what I'm telling you. So, if we're not amazingly beautiful, if we're not some, studly, muscular, handsome stud, whatever, if we're not skilled athletes or incredibly, intelligent or amazingly talented, if we're not all that popular at school because we don't have the sweetest ride or the slickest clothes or the richest parents or whatever it takes, what do we do to feel valuable? Listen. To feel accepted, secure, confident, that we matter and that we are significant. You know what we do? What we do is we spend time worrying about it and trying to fix it. And letting the worry and the attempts to feel better about ourselves distract us from the real purposes of God in our lives. And we're so worried about finding our place in this world that we sometimes forget to try to find what God's place for us is in this world. And our value, listen, our value is so often based, our value for ourselves is so often based on our appearance or our performance or our status in our schools or our jobs and our youth groups. And when we don't measure up to what our girlfriends, boyfriends, friends, society, or the media say, which is often the case, we learn to feel bad about ourselves. And I say we learn because as little bitty kids, we don't know that we're overweight. We don't know that our skin tone is wrong. We don't know that we don't have the right. We don't know that we're poor. We don't know that we're rich. We don't know that stuff. We're just little kids cruising through life, and then somebody teaches us this stuff. Who teaches us this stuff? Who tells us that we're in the wrong shape? Who tells us that we're the wrong color? Who tells us that our hair isn't right? Who tells us that? The system. Okay, I hope I'm not way out of control here. Now, girls, when you were little kids, when you were 5, you didn't stare in the mirror and go, man, I'm fat. Where are the diet pills? You didn't do that, right? Guys, you were like, dude, look how scrawny I am. I got to bulk up, dude. Give me some roids. You weren't doing that. You learned to do that over time. You learned to think I'm not right. Now, having said that, let me just tell you real quick, just to sort of give you a mental break here. We're not the only country in the world that has peer pressure. Take a look at these people real quick, right? These ladies have some peer pressure. You see the lady on the left, right over here, on this side? Her neck is not as long as the girl in the middle, and she's kind of looking at her jealously, right? Man, look at my neck. It's so stumpy compared to hers, right? Look at this next guy. He's like sitting around there, and his ears are 6 inches long, right? All the young kids are walking around going, dude, how do you get ears that long, right? And we're looking at these people going, man, what a bunch of weirdos. And they're going, man, why they got such stump necks and fat ears, you know what I'm saying? And God's looking down on everybody going, hey, these are my kids, and I love them all how they are. Why don't they just know that? My point is, why don't we learn to just get our own thing? You know, check out this duck right here. I'm bumping around at feeding ducks with my little girl, and I see this duck, and he's got an afro. I didn't airbrush that in there. He's got a fro, man, and he's retro duck. And I'm looking around, and he's just cruising around, and he's minding his own business, and he's cool with himself. Nobody else has a fro, but this duck has his own fro. And the cool thing about this duck is he's just comfortable in his own skin. He's like, hey, I got a fro, so what? I'm going to eat some bread. Toss it my way. I'll push you out of the way so I can eat that cricket. My point is just know who you are. Be comfortable with who you are. Get your own thing and just don't even worry about what the system says. Now, the thing is the system, and I'm going to finish this whole system talk right here, creates a feeling of emptiness in you. It gets you measuring yourself up against their made-up images. They want you comparing yourself and looking at yourself and going, I'm not that. Feeling bad, so you'll buy their stuff. It's totally, 100% the truth. Believe me. Believe me. When you leave here, you know, I don't know if I'm going to change even one person's mind, but please believe me. When you leave this room today and you go back into your real world, back at home outside this camp, know that there's somebody out there trying to make you feel bad. But you are not bad. You are awesome. You're just exactly like God created you to be. Be happy with that. All right, I'm going to wrap her up right here. All right, Danny, all right, I feel you, bro. I think you're kind of telling the truth here. So now tell me, what do I do? Because I know that I've been buying in, and I know that, what do I do to just sort of combat that cultural pressure that's coming at me? What do I do against the system that you're talking about, right? What is it, man? Is it in the room right now? You know, somebody you're like, system? That's scary. Okay, never mind. What do I do? 5 quick things, really? Pay attention quick, because I'm going to fly. Number 1, take the focus off of yourself and start helping other people. Oh, that was powerful. Man, did y'all catch that? Not really. You're all going, huh? Let me stop. Take the focus off yourself. You know why I tell you that? Because Americans think that life is all about them. And every young person in the world today is just totally isolated on their iPod and their game system, and life just revolves around us. That's what we've been taught. It's all about you. It's all about me. We sing songs about ourselves. You know what I'm saying? Instead of God. I'm just kidding. We don't. Y'all start to catch my humor in just a second here. Take the focus off of yourself. Start realizing that you're not the only one in your church. You're not the only one in your school who feels the pressure. You're not alone. So instead of just going, oh man, what am I going to do, and shriveling up and staying by yourself and not going to youth camp, which you are obviously here, and not enjoying life, just realize that there are other people who feel just like you do. So here's what you do. You start giving compliments. You start paying attention. You start helping other people out. There was a study done. And the study was, they were doing a self-image study with these people. These people would come in, they would do this survey. At the end of the survey, the people would, a lot of people would say, my self-image is shot. They felt horrible about themselves. And then they would leave. But they would have a person planted outside. So when the person's leaving, they feel horrible about themselves, head down, right? They're walking out the door. They got somebody going, hey, you know what? Man, you did a great job in there. That was awesome. Look at those shoes, man. Great shoes, right? And they go, you know what? Before you leave, we forgot to give you this other little thing that we need you to fill out. They give them the compliment. They go back inside. They fill out this shorter version of the same thing. At the end, the results are completely different. The people felt so much better about themselves. Why? The power of one kind word. Power of one kind word. No. I know that's not revelation, but check this out. Do construction and never destruction. Fellas, listen to me. Pay attention. Some of you are sleeping. That's all right. I know you're tired. Fellas, pay attention to me. Now, young ladies are awesome, treasures from God, priceless works of art. But here's the thing. One ugly word, one nasty word can lodge into their brains at 12 years old and haunt them all the rest of the days of their life. And you didn't even mean it. You're just throwing out, hey, zithead, or whatever.
I've got to interrupt you right here.
Okay.
Anybody know Bill Clinton? You ever heard that name? How about, if any of you ever heard of Buck Rogers? Gil Gerard was his real name. I was in Arkansas District when this movie star and Bill Clinton came. And when that movie star got amongst Pentecostal women, he told one of our brethren, these are the most beautiful women I've ever seen in the world.
All right. Thank you. Remember that. Remember that. Give them one more hand, fellas. Give them one more hand. You guys can hold up your number or whatever. Just kidding. I'm going to move on because I'm trying to fly. Number 2, second thing here. I got more to say about that, but I'm going to fly. Thank you for that. Kill the culture's influence in your life. Thank you. Kill it. Kill the culture's influence. Now listen, I've just told you that you can't get away from it. I've told you that it's all around you. Unless you go live in a cave, you're not going to get away from it. But you can kill its influence on you. You can decide, you know what? No. Enough is enough. I'm not going to get into all this stuff. How do you do that? Just a quick scripture here. Romans 12:2. Paul says, hey, you know what? Do not conform any longer to what? To the pattern of this world, the pattern, that system of this world that's out there. Don't conform any longer to the pattern. You know what a pattern is? You take a pattern and you use it to cut around, and then you got something that's identical to that. Don't try to be like the world, but be transformed by the renewing of your mind. Paul's saying, hey, stop trying to measure yourself up to this fake pattern of this world. It's wrong, and it will only make you feel bad about yourself. Do you get that? Listen to me. Following the system's values will only lead you further away from the image that God has for you, from the person that God sees in you. So be careful, again, what you watch, what you read, what you listen to or take in. Is it helping or is it hurting? And you're saying, well, I don't think it's doing either. Yes, it is. Most of the time, it's doing one or the other. It's either helping you or hurting you. There is not really any neutral ground. And then cut the stuff out that's working against you negatively. Third, stay connected quickly with the right group of friends. This is so huge because if you hang around people, if they're good people, you're going to start to become a little bit better. If they're bad people, you're going to start to become a little bit worse. Again, there is no neutral ground. They're either helping you or they're hurting you. So stay connected with the right group of friends, because they're either going to lift you up or they're going to bring you down. That's why Paul says don't be unequally yoked with unbelievers. Don't be unequally yoked with them. Doesn't mean you can't be friends. Doesn't mean you can't try to win them. But don't be unequally yoked with them. Don't spend too much time, too much influence with those people. Number 4, sliding right here through this whole thing. Number 4, this is so critical. Listen, 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 listen. Know who you are and know where you're going. Listen, when I was a kid, I went to a Christian school, an ACE school, Pentecostal school. In the 8th grade, 9th grade, and 10th grade, my entire basketball team, of which I was a member, every single one of them except one, 10 players, there was 10 or 11 players, 2 of us didn't do drugs. Only 2 of us. Everyone else did drugs, smoked, drank. They did drugs inside the church. They would tear pages of the Bible out and roll up joints in it because of the quality of the paper. And I told this one guy, you're going straight to hell for that. You can't pass go. You're going straight there, you know? Hang on. Not my point. So all these guys that I was forced into a daily routine with, because they were in my school and we had a very small school, every single one of them, daily, coming to school, smoking joints, dropping acid, doing all this stuff. But do you know something? In all of those 3 years that we had those troubles, not one time did any one of them ever ask me to smoke or drink or do drugs. Do you know why? Because they knew who I was and they knew what I stood for. Not one time. You know why they knew who I was and what I stood for? Because I knew who I was and what I stood for. And I had let it be known, this is my life. I'm not perfect. It's not that I'm never going to make a mistake, but those things are outside my lines. I hope I'm making sense. I hope I'm trying. Now listen to me. I'm not saying that at 13 or 14 that you should have it all figured out. What I'm saying is decide now how you're going to live and how you're going to believe and how you're going to behave. Figure out now that, because it will help you later on down the road. Decide now if drugs are not an option. Decide now if alcohol is not an option. Decide now and verbalize it if sex before marriage is not an option. If smoking is not an option, decide now. Don't wait and see. Decide now. Decide now that you are 100% a Christian. Decide now that you're not going to see how close to the world that you can live, but decide now that you're going to see how close to God I can live my life. Decide now. Decide now who you are. Because if you try to find and identify yourself inside of our culture, you will always struggle. But if you find your identity in Christ and in the church, you'll have peace and safety. And you do that quickly. You do that by developing convictions. Crystal clear convictions. What's a conviction, Danny? Here it is. It's a fixed belief. It's fixed. It doesn't move. It can't be swayed. You can't talk me out of it. It's my conviction. Now, when I say conviction, most of you are going, well, you're talking about holiness and hair and dress. I am, but that's not all I'm talking about. It's so much more than that. Know where you stand. Have a fixed belief on the key issues like sex and drugs and alcohol, and do not allow anybody to change your fixed position. I'm going to give you some genius advice. Listen to me carefully. Prepare yourself ahead of time for uncomfortable situations that you're going to find yourself in. Mentally script out the reaction that you want to have in a given situation. What I mean by that. Now, you're 12, 13, and 14. Maybe some of you have already been approached with the idea of doing drugs or smoking or drinking or doing something wrong. Right? Some of you probably already have. Most of you will at some point, if you go to a public school, will come up against that. So you got to decide ahead of time, what am I going to say if somebody says, hey, do you want to come back here and try this? What am I going to say if somebody says, hey, why don't you go with me to this party? What am I going to say, young lady, if I'm dating a guy who tries to pressure me into doing something I don't feel good about, or take me someplace I don't feel good about going? I'll tell them no. Will you? Will you? Have you scripted out what you're going to say? Have you thought about it? When I get to this situation, here's what I'm going to say. And you repeat that over and over and over again in your mind until it's just a part of your thinking. And somebody says, hey.
Please like, comment, and subscribe.